Hey there folks, this is Pop Culture, I'm Alex Pop, and with Regal Cinemas reopening and Godzilla vs. Kong making good bucks, it's looking like audiences are finally ready to go back to the theater. That is, as long as they have the gas for it. It seems that the vaccines are the arrow in the heart of this virus, and for the most part people are not giving in to all the paranoia porn of the media. In celebration of what Trolls World Tour didn't do after all, I put together a list of the 20 films that I'm looking forward to most. These conclude any movie that is soon to be released, is currently in production, or even just greenlit. And if there's a franchise on here that has multiple installments in development, I'm only going to include the very next one. So these are my top 20 most anticipated movies of the future. Number 20. Starting off the list at number 20 is Big Shark, directed by Tommy Wiseau and starring the guy alongside his longtime best friend Greg Sestero. I'm a huge fan of The Room. It's my favorite so bad it's good movie of all. And the two legends behind that movie making a Sharknado-esque flick has got to be a total riot. You're tearing me apart, Big Shark. Literally. Number 19. Next up is Ambulance. Full confession, I am a Michael Bay apologist. Sometimes he's a patriot artist with movies like 13 Hours and The Island, and sometimes he's just that really fun uncle who takes you to the fair whenever he visits. And it looks like Ambulance will be one of the latter times. From what I know, it's about two robbers who botch a heist and then hijack an ambulance to give themselves cover, I guess. And we know in the wake of it, things are going to get blown to tangerines. We saw some of the bayhem on Michael Bay's Instagram in a post that got a sensitive content warning. Come on, Instagram, you love it and you know it! Explosions are fun! Number 18. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Whether I'm among a fan base or not, I always smile when a movie that's part of a long-lasting brand pleases its fan base. And knowing how much director Jeff Fowler loves Sonic fans, I look forward to seeing him reach for the stars with this one, with Sonic and now some of his friends taking on Dr. Robotnik. Number 17. At number 17 is a sequel that you may not even know was being made, but it is. The Resurrection of the Christ. On one hand, it does seem a little weird for there to be a sequel to such a masterwork as The Passion, but where Jesus was during the 3 days before he left the tomb is something that I don't think has been reenacted on screen before. Knowing Mel Gibson's Catholicism, it might be more about Jesus visiting hell than him going to the bosom of Abraham to take the deceased saints home and declaring his victory to the fallen angels. But even though I'm not a Catholic, I think this could still make for an incredibly unique viewing experience just as the original Passion was. Number 16. I think this is number 1 for a lot of people, but only at number 16 for me is The Batman. Even though I was the first to say that Robert Pattinson will make a really good Batman, it was at first to me just another iteration of Batman. So I thought to myself, I need to see some footage first to get any idea of what I think. And then we got that teaser trailer and I was like, okay, that does look like it could be the same caliber as Joker. And I am certainly curious to see what a serious version of the Riddler looks like. Number 15. At number 15 is the next in the Fast and Furious series, F9 The Fast Saga. Despite that dumb title in keeping with the most inconsistently named franchise of all, I am one of those people that just can't get enough of those fast cars taking down planes, trains, trucks, and tanks. I am a bit skeptical of the choice to bring back the character of Han, even while I understand the reason behind it, but I'm totally down for going even further over the top by taking the action into space. Just a month left before we see Car Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skydriver. Number 14. Continuing the new Halloween timeline is Halloween Kills. I thought the 2018 movie was just decent, so when this and Halloween Ends were announced, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll watch them. But then, a synopsis of Halloween Kills was released by David Gordon Green, which said that it's about how the people of Haddonfield now know the threat that Michael Myers poses to their town. They're united in their outrage, but divided in how to deal with the evil. That was the point where I was like, okay, now I'm interested. It sounds like it can serve up some good scares while being somewhat contributive to right now, given current affairs. Number 13. Mission Impossible 7. I've enjoyed all these movies with the exception of the second, and from everything that we've seen on set, it looks like Tom Cruise and director Christopher McQuarrie are going more above and beyond than ever before to give us one heck of a ride. I would expect nothing less at this point than to see that Cruise is going full Evel Knievel in this next movie, but it is astonishing to see an entire crew with him on top of a speeding train. These movies have just gotten better with each installment, so we'll see if MI7 continues that streak. Number 12. Sorry COVID, I got No Time to Die. I still got the final Bond movie with Daniel Craig to see. The action looks terrific, the story seems compelling, and after James Bond had a legit romance with Madeline Swan in Spectre, I'm glad that she's returning in No Time to Die, instead of just being forgotten about like almost every other Bond girl. This movie has been described as James Bond for the Me Too era, which I know has been an instant turnoff for some people. However, knowing the kind of man that Bond is, I think that it can work, so we'll see come this October. Number 11. Coming at number 11 is the first of 4 Marvel movies on my list, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's Doctor Strange furthering his research on the Time Stone, and Scarlet Witch now is a friend-turned-enemy after WandaVision. I hear this is where Marvel is going to be dipping its feet in horror territory, and with director Sam Raimi having proven himself to be an effective horror filmmaker in the last decade, I believe we'll be in for one of the most unique experiences with a Marvel film yet. Number 10. A movie that I doubt you'll see on anyone else's list, Apollo 10.5. I always look forward to a new Richard Linklater film whenever it's announced. From what I hear, this one is about the fantasies that children in the suburbs of Houston have about the moon landing at the time it happened. Richard Linklater is an expert at digging into the complexities of human feelings. He's just the kind of guy who can capture the mood of everyday people when they were watching the giant leap for mankind play out. Number 9. Ranking at number 9 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Being helmed by Jason Reitman, the son of the director of the first 2 movies, I find the idea of Egon's grandchildren discovering the legacy he left behind to be very appealing. Plus, we have Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and Sigourney Weaver all returning, and big props to the marketing for not revealing them in the trailers. I only know one truth: it's time to right some wrongs. Number 8. Man, anyone remember when this movie was scheduled for 2014? I sure do, and now it's at December of 2022. Avatar: The Way of Water is the first of 4 Avatar sequels that James Cameron has dedicated nearly all his time to since the first movie became king of the world. He's been striving to make this the first 3D movie that doesn't require glasses, but whether or not that happens, I look forward to returning to that awe-inspiring world that blew my mind that 11 years ago. I'm not one who was super critical of the original movie's formulaic story outline. However, with 4 movies coming each 2 years apart, and with years in the planning, I'm expecting a very grand and riveting story over the course of this decade. Number 7. Even though I see it as kinda lazy when the title of a sequel is just a quote from the first movie, number 7 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Everyone's got their eye on this movie, because it's going to be interesting to see how it deals with the sudden passing of Chadwick Boseman. I'm not keen on the idea of T'Challa dying off screen, but it may be their only option, and what matters most is how they honor the character and actor following their deaths. Now, with all due respect to Chadwick, I am honestly excited to see T'Challa's sister take the mantle as the Black Panther. Seriously, Shuri is the best Marvel character ever. This movie will drop much lower on the list, however, if Marvel bends the knee to the mob and fires Letitia Wright for daring to have her suspicions about the vaccine. Number 6. Going from one black superhero to another, well, kinda, Black Widow. Would that movie just get here already? It's been nearly 2 years since the last big screen Marvel event, and it's been long enough that Black Widow hasn't gotten her own movie going into her personal history. And knowing her fate in Endgame, it'll be awesome to see her get one last good battle in, facing off against a villain that is Captain America, Black Panther, and Hawkeye rolled into one. By the way, a small prediction I have to make. Towards the end, old Cap will appear to Nat, and without giving her any context, he'll let her know that they won. Number 5. In the world of this movie, I would be dead because I cannot contain my excitement. A Quiet Place Part 2 is almost here! The first movie was my favorite film of 2018. It had fantastic visual storytelling with religious undertones, and while I imagine there's probably going to be less of that in the sequel, it's sure to have more of the first film's incredible tension. The trailers hint at some mystery surrounding what's happening with other survivors, and it's just going to be a thrilling and harrowing experience to see this family going from taking care of themselves in their own home to venturing across the earth to alert everyone of the monster's weakness. Number 4. Coming in at number 4 on my list is Transformers Beast Alliance. I'm a fan of Transformers 1, 3, and 4. The Last Night was a colossal letdown, but the series got some new juice with the Bumblebee spin-off, so I'm on board to see more stories that follow before Bumblebee pulls into Bernie Mac's dealership. The working title seems to imply that it will be a Beast Wars movie, and we know that it's going to be a heist adventure set in the 90s, spanning from New York to South America. That description sounds really dope, so I'm ready for more G1-style robot warring. Number 3. I'm very psyched to see a shot at this franchise getting a better ending than the last movie was, with Indiana Jones 5. Yes, I am aware of what a horrible leader Kathleen Kennedy is, but if Steven Spielberg and James Mangold have as much control over this film as Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni had over their Star Wars creations, I think we'll have something. Harrison Ford has repeatedly been dragged back to Star Wars, which, as much as I love Han Solo, he's obviously just not that interested in. He has a much stronger connection with the character of Indy, so I'm happy to see him get to have some fun in his old age. My biggest hope is that it leaves behind the uninspired sci-fi elements of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and goes back to the religious and historical-rooted adventure of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade. Number 2. My second most anticipated movie of them all, SpiderMan No Way Home. I thought the first 2 MCU Spider-Man movies were just fine, but there is so much that has me stoked for this next one. We got a great setup for it at the end of Far From Home, the premise of a superhero not only being viewed by the public as a criminal, but having his name and face known to them. We got the multiverse connecting this to other Spider-Man universes, with J.K. Simmons returning as J. Jonah Jameson, plus Alfred Molina's Doc Ock and Jamie Foxx's Electro confirmed. And I can't help but think, if Tobey and Andrew Spider-Man are in this movie, could it complete both their stories which have been left hanging for so many years?
Don't give me hope.
The only thing that can make me more excited for No Way Home is if it's revealed to be a buddy action flick with Peter and Shuri. If not in this movie, that has to happen one of these days. Number 1. If you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know exactly what my number 1 pick is. Say it with me in 3, 2, 1, Jurassic World Dominion. I cannot express enough just how excited I am for this movie. I loved Jurassic World, I loved Fallen Kingdom, and now this one is going to feature dinosaurs living in our world, a premise that I've been wanting to see ever since I got started watching these movies. And along with the characters of Claire, Owen, and Macy, we've got Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, and Ian Malcolm returning in major roles, plus Lewis Dodgson and the old rival company of InGen as the antagonists. On top of all the awe and suspense of witnessing the realistic depictions of the greatest creatures that ever lived, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, seeing the culmination of the stories of all these characters, new and old. The more I hear Colin Trevorrow talk about this movie, the more it becomes clear to me that he has all the right ideas of what it has to be, and if so, Jurassic World Dominion shall rule the earth. So those are my top 20 most anticipated movies of the future, all of which I will be seeing in theaters, at least whenever that's an option. So what movies are you looking forward to most in the coming years? Give me your own list in the comments below. That's a wrap, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and share, subscribe for more. This is Pop Culture, I'm Alex Pop.